What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a pretty funny story time for y'all, as you can tell from the title, about the cringiest furry I've ever heard of. My brother actually told me this story. It happened to him at his school, and I guess things have changed since I was in school. Basically, he has someone at his school who thinks they're like half feline, half human. And listen, if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. But this particular person makes it everyone's problem because they'll like hiss at people over the slightest inconvenience. They've scratched people, they bite people. Overall, just super cringe, you know? I had to share it though, because it's just absolutely nuts. Thinking about a herd of furries like hissing at people and going after everyone and trying to bite them is nuts. I feel like if someone scratched me, bit me, and hissed at me, I'd have to fight them, you know? Like if I'm just walking through the hallway and someone hissed at me, I'd have to like throw a desk at them. And when the teachers asked me why I did it, I'd say, oh, I didn't know what it was. It could have been a tiger for all I knew. That's why I acted the way that I did, you know? Regardless, it's a pretty cringe story time, entertaining to say the least. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Alright, so this actually all started right at the beginning of the school year, went off with a bang. Day one, there's always that like awkward time where everyone's just gotta introduce themselves. You're playing those icebreaker games. Like the first week of school's just always pretty crappy. But since it was the first day, my brother walked into this class and they started doing this thing where they had to like go around and say one thing about themselves, introduce themselves, that type of vibe. And most people were being pretty normal about it, like saying their hobbies, one or two facts about themselves, and sitting down. But about halfway through, this one kid stands up, clears his throat, and is like, I am a descendant of a feline god. Which everyone is kind of caught off guard by, especially because he doesn't say it in a way where he's joking. Like, I think most of the class probably thought it was a joke, but with just really bad delivery, you know, when someone's trying to be funny, but they just don't have the whole funny thing down. And so the class is pretty quiet, waiting for him to say, like, I'm kidding. But that never comes. He continues to go off about how, like, because he's a descendant of a feline god, he's been blessed with some powers from every big cat. And then like lists off all the big cats just in case you had forgotten what they were. You know, lion, tiger, puma, all of those. And then he says that if he ever reacts to them in a feline way, understand that it's the power of a god, so they should not try to do anything about it. Which, listen, you're obviously pretty delusional if you think you're like a descendant of a feline god and have the powers of large cats. But it's even funnier to think that you're gonna use your powers of a large cat on your classmates and they just shouldn't do anything about it. I'm just saying, man, I don't know if hissing at strangers is a god power, but people are obviously gonna be bugged by that. Also, what a lame power. Like, out of every power you could get from being an ancient god, it's just hissing at strangers. Like, oh man, ooh. That's right, he's a descendant from an ancient Egyptian cat god, but his main power is hissing at everyone. Anyways, he continues to go off about how, like, he knows that he's one with the cat and there's nothing that they could do to convince him otherwise, and no one's even said anything, so he's just kind of arguing with himself. And so the class isn't really sure how to react, so they're just very, very quiet. No one would know how to react in that situation. It's weird if someone starts claiming they're a cat god, like, what do you do? So the class is just kind of like, okay, I guess, thanks. And he sits back down and goes back to what he was doing, like that was just a perfectly normal sentence. For this guy, pretty standard to just stand up, claim to be a cat god, say that you have cat powers. It seemed perfectly normal for him, and the rest of the class was just kind of confused. But when he sits back down and acts like it was perfectly normal, everyone just kind of tries to move on. And the teacher stammers a bit, just kind of like, well, okay, I guess, thank you. And just moves on, and I can't blame the teacher for just moving on. Like, I know some of you guys in the comments, why didn't the teacher tell them that they were delusional right then and there? Well, because the person's delusional, man. You ever tried to argue with somebody that's delusional enough to think they're a god? If they think that they have god powers, something tells me that they're not going to be very good at admitting that they're wrong, because, you know, they think they're a cat god. So they just moved on, and the rest of the class is just introducing themselves, and they get to that, like, period at the end of class where everyone's just kind of packing up their stuff, and the bell rings. And if you've ever tried to leave a crowded classroom, it kind of sucks, because there's only one door, and there's like 30 people people in a class, so everyone trying to go out at once kind of creates a jam. And there's not much you can do about it, so everyone's trying to get through the door, and my brother's kind of near the back of the line, and he starts hearing this like hissing noise, and he's not sure what it is because he didn't think about the cat kid again. Like, the first thing on his mind was that, you know, something was leaking, or like something was compressed, like a soda can had started leaking or something. So he starts looking around, and when he turns around, he sees that the cat boy is just kind of staring daggers at him and hissing at him angrily. And obviously, my brother has never turned around and seen someone like hissing at him angrily. So he just says like WTF, but he says the words. I'm not going to say it because I like getting paid on YouTube. But you'll know what I'm saying. And the cat boy response to that is just to go, move. Keep in mind, there's like 25 people trying to get through the door in front of them. There's nowhere to go. My brother can't just like turn on his magic powers and phase through the door. There's nowhere to go. So my brother just kind of looks back at him and says, no, I can't. There's nowhere to go. And to that, I guess the cat boy felt very insulted, almost disrespected, because he raises his hands kind of like their claws, like, you know, when someone would just kind of curl their fingers, and literally goes again with his claws raised, almost like he's threatening my brother, like he's gonna scratch him or something. And when he raises his claws and hisses at him, my brother laughs, because how could you not laugh at the sight of this? Like a human being looking at you, raising their claws and like hissing, I would have laughed too, dude. It's just so cringe you can't make it up. You know, if you want to be a furry or whatever, like you and your friends want to dress up in fursuits and hang out, I guess like whatever, dude. If you're not harming anyone, more power to you. It's not my cup of tea, like I don't get it, but whatever, most of them are harmless. The second you start thinking you're a cat god and like scratching and hissing at people and threatening them though, it just crosses the line. And I feel like it's fair game to make fun of you a little bit. And I'm sure the furries that just are minding their own business don't like people like this either, because it just makes them all look bad when they're rolling around claiming to be a cat god and attacking strangers. Anyways, Catboy's reaction to being laughed at is to scratch my brother. He had raised those claws not only as a deterrent, but as a weapon. And he like attacks him and scratches him. And my brother's kind of in shock because it doesn't hurt really bad, but he just can't really believe that this dude just hissed at him and actually scratched him. And so he shoves the guy after that, like away from him, and is like, dude, what's wrong with you? Why did you just scratch me? And then my brother raises his hand to hit him, because obviously that's what you would do if someone just scratched you for no reason. I don't know, maybe some people are like, violence is never the answer. Okay, true. But if someone else has already scratched you, I feel like hitting them back is okay. But before he can hit him, his friend kind of stops him, which is a good thing, because we all know schools now have the stupid rule where, like, if you get into a fight, both of you are in trouble. Doesn't matter if someone scratched you first, you're both equally bad somehow. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever. So his friend stops him, but that obviously means that he didn't hit him back. So the teacher saw it, and she comes over and is like, why did you scratch him? Like, why did you do that? And at first, the cat boy tries to deny it. You know, even though a bunch of people saw it, the teacher witnessed it, he's like, I didn't scratch him. And so the teacher who witnessed it shuts that down and is like, listen, I literally saw you scratch him. He has a scratch mark, like, look. And my brother hadn't looked yet, and he looks down, and sure enough, you can see the marks from where the kids scratched him on the arm. And they were pretty long scratch marks and, like, pretty red. The dude had gone full scratch mode on him, you know? 100% of his power was used to try to scratch my brother. Too bad my brother's power level is much stronger than that. Like, he had really tried to really go scratching on him. But even after that, he tries to deny it and said that my brother already had those marks during class. Like, oh yeah, he just already casually had gotten into a fight with a cat person earlier. And the teacher's not buying it because the teacher wasn't born yesterday. So, you know, they're like, that's not true. I don't know if he thought the teacher was on shrooms or something, just hallucinating. And my brother had just clawed himself to set him up. Like, oh, I'm going to frame this kid for being a demon, so I'm going to scratch myself. Anyways, the teacher shuts it down again and says that, like, it doesn't matter what your excuse is, you still can't scratch people. And when he realizes that the teacher isn't gonna buy the idea that, like, he didn't do it, he starts trying to shift blame instead. saying that they have no right to be angry at him for scratching him because it's something that comes with being a half feline, half god, half human combination. It's just the way he acts. Believe it or not, you're not half cat, half god. Like, let's just start there. You're not some ancient Egyptian cat god. That's not reality. But on top of it, if you were some like feline demigod, you're so lame that you're just gonna scratch people for no reason in school? Like, I don't know, man. If I had some demigod powers, the last place I would be is school in the first place, but I definitely wouldn't be letting myself get caught up in like some petty mortal drama. I'm half god. And that's with like working with his delusions. Obviously, you're just not a demigod in the first place. But even if you pretended that he was, like what? Okay, so you just are scratching people and have cat god powers? But your scratch is so weak, it just leaves a scratch. You have the power of a god, but your scratch didn't like instantly burst everyone into flames in the room. Come on, man. And if you were half god, yeah, why are you still in school, dude? Like, do you imagine he went to his parents, listen, mom, I'm half cat god and I should be able to drop out of school. And they were like, no. And so he's just still there. He just has to keep going, doesn't matter. Anyways, the teacher doesn't really care if it's normal for half feline, half god, half human, or half demigod, whatever. Who knows, bro? I just says it doesn't really matter about that. He's still gonna get in trouble. And so now that the demigod has realized he's actually gonna get in trouble, there's no way out of this, he just starts freaking out, which is not very godlike, may I just say. Yelling that like he's sorry for scratching my brother, but he doesn't want to get in trouble. And my brother's just kind of like, okay, don't do it again. He doesn't really know what to say in that situation. And when my brother says just don't do it again, he thinks he's out of trouble. But it's not really up to my brother, it's up to the teacher. And the teacher says that he's still gonna be in trouble. And now he's just pissed off because he knows he's gonna get in trouble. So he decides to attack the teacher. Except instead of going for like a scratch attack, he decides to bite the teacher. And as soon as the kid bites the teacher starts freaking out because obviously it wasn't in her plan today to be being bitten by a student. I don't think she walked into class like, what's up? Today's lesson plan is to have everyone biting me. It's the first day of school. But the teacher yells out that like he needs to release her now, and he's just not letting go. He is holding on with his teeth and just saying he's not gonna stop biting her. And so he had to have been like just thinking to himself that he's in too deep and he just has to commit now. But also, how weird for the teacher to have your arm being held hostage against you because someone's biting it. Talk about 127 hours. You know the movie where he has to like cut his arm off with a pocket knife? She's like, I might have to chop the arm off to get rid of Catboy over here. Like, imagine looking down at your arm and just seeing Catboy looking up at you, refusing to let go. Like, hey man, that's mine, please let go. He just looks back at you and communicates telepathically. Did you forget that I'm a god? Either way, she grabs her radio thing and calls for help since he's not gonna let go, and he still won't let go. It's like he's super committed to this bite. You know, I guess at that point, you've already bit the teacher, what do you have to lose? You like gotta just commit, like you're gonna get in trouble either way. Obviously, the real first choice would be not biting anyone, like just don't be weird and bite people, but if you've already bit the teacher, you're already screwed. I don't know, I feel like just not biting people is the way to go, as we learned from Nemo. Fish are friends, not food. I feel like you could apply that to humans. Humans are friends, not food. But in his mind, you already bit the teacher. You're already going down for it. Oh well, you might as well go for the world record. It's like bull riding. If you can stay on the bull for 8 seconds, you win. If you can stay biting the teacher for 8 hours, you win. And he's just not letting go of the teacher, and he's trying to argue the full time, but he has his mouth full because he's biting someone, so whenever he tries to argue, it's just like... And so finally, people get there to help, and it's like 5 or 6 people, and they're all yelling at him to let go. And he just won't do it. He's refusing to let go, so they decide that they're gonna have to like open his mouth and pry him off the teacher. That's how committed he is to this bite. Just being an absolute nutter butter. So they like put some gloves on, probably to make sure he's not contagious or something, and starts trying to like pry his mouth open. And I don't know why the detail of gloves makes me laugh even more. Like, obviously you should wear gloves in this situation, man, but I would wear like 3 layers of gloves just because you don't know what's going on. These people weren't here for this entire situation. You walk in, someone's just biting a teacher, refusing to let go. You don't know anything about feline gods. You probably think this dude's patient zero from a zombie apocalypse. just walked into a class where a student's trying to eat everyone, I wouldn't take my chances either. Either way, they start kind of prying him off, and they finally get his mouth open and pull him off the teacher. And he starts struggling and gets out of their arms, and he's hissing the entire time. And after he gets out of their arms, he crawls on all fours across the floor to a corner like some type of possessed demon. And honestly, at that point, it wouldn't have surprised me if he just started climbing up the wall. Screw it, man. Let's just go full demon possession. Let's see these feline god powers you got. Either way, he's over in the corner hissing at everyone all pissed off. And so the adults in the room start trying to formulate a plan to capture him. Okay, we gotta go over here and get this way and over this way and da-da-da-da-da. And my brother is just standing there awkwardly for all of this, just kind of not knowing what to do. And either way, they decide to take two adults and do a pincer move on him, kind of go in from either side, and they start trapping him in the corner. And it's like an escaped lion, man. He's just hissing at them, saying he's gonna scratch them, all this stuff. And the only dumb thing about their plan with this pincer maneuver is that they had planned it all in front of him. I think they forgot that he wasn't actually a cat, so obviously he heard the plan. And as soon as they get close, he crawls under the desk in front of him, pops up, and just runs past my brother and escapes out into the hallway. So now Catboy, who's just biting people, is on the loose. Now the whole school has to be on alert because this Catboy who's been attacking everyone is on the loose. And so the teachers hop on their radio and give an alert that a biter is on the run. And I love that this has happened enough times that they have a whole code word for it, you know? Some kid bites someone enough that there's a whole radio code. What's going on in schools where biting is so prevalent that they need code words for it? Oh yeah, we got 4 biters on the loose right now. He goes home, he's like, honey, I had to deal with 10 biters today. It's literally like they're dealing with the zombie apocalypse. Either way, now everyone's alerted to the fact that there's a biter on the loose. And at that point, my brother looks around at everyone and is like, can I leave? And they say yes. They write him a little pass so he's not in trouble for being late to his next class. And he starts walking there. And the way he has to walk to get to his next class, it just so happens he has to walk through the courtyard. And he's just thinking to himself that this was a really weird day. He wasn't expecting any of it. And as he's walking, he hears chaos and he looks up and the courtyard is 2-storied. And on the second floor, he sees the Catboy still in a full sprint, just running down the walkway that kind of looked over the courtyard, sprinting as fast as he can. And probably 15, 20 feet behind him is a bunch of people, 5 teachers chasing him, yelling at him to stop. So Catboy had really managed to get himself the 6-star wanted level out here, get himself into a high-speed chase. And I don't know if he expected them to just let him go, but I feel like once you bite a teacher and start attacking them, they have to get you in trouble, bro. They can't let you go. It's the same premise when people start a high-speed chase after a bank robbery. It's they're gonna keep chasing you, man. You kind of robbed a bank. I don't think they're just gonna be cool with it. Either way, he's being chased by all of these people, 6-star wanted level, and my brother watches them all sprint by and is thinking to himself, what is going on? So he decides to go to his next class, just forget about it, thinking it might finally be over. He gets there, and about halfway through, there's a knock on the door, and one of the adults who had been in the class to help his teacher comes in and calls him and pulls him out of class to talk to him. And so they asked if he got scratched. He says yes. He showed him the scratch marks. It had gotten a lot less red and inflamed, but it definitely was still there. You could tell he had been scratched. So the guy took a picture of it and they were kind of can you give us a statement? So he just kind of explained what happened. Not a super in-depth play-by-play, but just yeah, he scratched me. And this guy, unprompted, is yeah, well, he ended up biting 4 more people after that, which brings his total bite count on the day to 5. If you bite 5 people in one day, you might just be a rabid animal. I'm not even sure if you still qualify to be considered normal. That's a lot of people to try to go all zombie mode on. What is going on where you just think biting people is the best way to handle these situations? I don't feel like it's gotta be the best way to handle things. Oh, all these people are mad at me? Just better start biting them all. Anyways, my brother didn't ask for the information or anything, so he didn't really know what to say about it. So he just kind of looked at the guy and was like, oh, that's not very good, I guess. Because, yeah, I guess being bitten's not good, but my brother didn't really know what he wanted him to do about it. Like, yeah, he scratched me too. I wasn't very thrilled with it either, but I guess it just is what it is, man. So the guy says he can go back to class, so my brother goes back to class and he walks away. And by the end of that class, in like the passing period and the beginning of his next class, basically everyone had found out about it. I mean, obviously it was gonna be the talk of the school when someone's just like biting teachers, going on high-speed chases, you know, like it's gonna get talked about. And so everyone was like, dude, this is nuts. Why would he do it? Like, oh man, I wonder who it was. Da 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 da. And my brother's just sitting there like, it was me. I'm the one who got scratched. Overall, the situation was just super weird. I really don't know what he was thinking. Obviously, this was not going to end well for Mr. Catboy. Like, oh, I'm just going to attack all these teachers. It'll be fine. No one will be mad. I don't think that's how it went down. In fact, he hasn't been back, so pretty sure he got expelled. I think they have to expel you. Like, if you bite 5 teachers in one day and start scratching people, like, they gotta get rid of you. I don't think you can stay in the class at that point. Anyways, as I said, it was weird. Don't hiss at people, don't scratch them, and definitely don't bite them, alright? It's just kind of unhinged. What are you trying to do, get sized for a retainer running around biting everyone? Just don't do it, alright? It's just not a very swagged thing. My brother's okay, no like a permanent mark on his arm or anything, it's gone now. I just thought the story was nuts, so I wanted to share it with y'all. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to press the like button and comment down below. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment Catboy. It helps the video do better and I would greatly appreciate it. So go comment Catboy, seriously. And if you're new, subscribe, turn on those notifications. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps the video do better too, and I post videos like this really often. And yeah, other than that, if you like the story times but you'd rather listen to the audio version, I do post it on Spotify. A day after they get posted on here, YouTube's still the best way to get content fast, like right when it comes out. But if you want to listen in the car, road trip, whatever it may be, there is a link down below to the Spotify. So yeah, check it out. And on that note, that'll officially do it. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.